strategic health communication with Ministry of Health in the hope I've pronounced your name very well. Is that so?
Yeah.
Yeah, that means I have not done any mistake. There with me also, I do have Dr. Dradiku Christopher. He happens to be a coordinator, expanded program on that nation, that's Arua region, and he will be also telling us more about what is happening within Arua city as far as immunization is concerned. And this is also where he will be telling us if at all we the people of Arua city have embraced it and how we are responding to the various calls to have our children immunized. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And now, without wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen, I want to now bring on board Commissioner to tell us how, maybe what is happening in relation to immunization as far as Arua city is concerned. How is the scope and how is the response? You're most welcome.
Thank you, moderator, and good evening, viewers of West Nile Television. We are this evening here with my colleague from the Regional Referral Hospital, that's the Arua Regional Referral Hospital, coming to discuss issues to do with immunization. Actually, not in Arua City, but in Arua region, West Nile region. West Nile region has about 13 local governments, which includes Arua City. So we are coming to speak about services, especially immunization services in this region. Fast forward for the viewers, immunization is a very key public health intervention that we as Ministry of Health take very, very seriously. And it's one of the key public health interventions that actually helps us in improving child survival. I'm sure all of you who are old enough to realize that previously, before the current years, we used to lose children to vaccine-preventable diseases. Initially, we started with 6 childhood killer diseases, but of course the number continued increasing. And if you look at the history of immunization, you realize by the years in the late 70s and the early 80s, when we had upheavals, civil wars in this country, it did not only affect immunization, but it affected everything, including livelihood. If you remember, people of West Nile at one time had to go in exile either South Sudan, current South Sudan, or in the ERC, which then was called Zaire. So all these affected the service delivery. But in 1983, immunization was officially launched. The UNEPI program was launched, but it was then revitalized or relaunched in 1987 in the current government, and from that time onwards we have been making lots of strides. The numbers of antigen or the vaccines that we use for preventing children from dying from vaccine-preventable diseases continued increasing from the initial 6, and as we speak now we have about 14 antigen. The latest in the market being the malaria vaccine, which we spoke about. It is very important for us to definitely emphasize the value of immunization as a country. It is a policy of Ministry of Health that countries where this has happened, there is evidence that vaccines actually work, and these vaccines prevent diseases that would have otherwise killed our children. I am aware, we probably know that we have been losing our children to measles, although we still have measles, but I don't think we are losing the children from measles the way we used to. We used to see lame children as a result of poliomyelitis or polio, but as I speak now, I don't know when I last saw a crippled child under 5, I don't remember, and these are all because of the effectiveness of these vaccines. We have been losing children to respiratory related conditions, pneumonias, and these pneumonias were caused by a number of germs for which we already have vaccines. So you can see these children are no longer dying of severe pneumonia as they used to. We also have children whom we used to lose as a result of diarrheal diseases. And again, we have vaccines that actually try to prevent against some of those germs that were able to cause diarrhea, and then the children get severe dehydration and finally they die. So this for us is very, very important, and the Ministry of Health and Government of Uganda puts emphasis on this, and we squarely invest a lot of money in terms of vaccines and in terms of ensuring that the staff have the supplies and they vaccinate these children. And no wonder this could be the reason why we have already seen from the Uganda Demographic Health Survey results which were released that actually our indicators are improving. We are no longer losing children as we used to, especially the infants and even under fives.
Okay.
So this, for me, is why we think it is very important for us to look into this. So our discussion today really is going to emphasize on this, and we shall finally also make an appeal to our people who are watching us outside there, including the parents and every other person who cares about the lives of our children, that we have to play a role collectively and ensure that children who are eligible to be vaccinated should be able to be supported, because they don't talk for themselves, it is us, the parents, who talk for them, so that they actually get these services and we give them an opportunity to live a healthy life.
Right. Talking about that is entirely a responsibility of the parents, and that call entirely goes to the parents, because a child will not even know about immunization. It means you as a parent, you must make sure that you take advantage of this call and make sure you respond to the caller. That means I now need to bring Dr. Christopher to tell us as far as the response is concerned. And this is a scope for the whole role, I believe. You must talk.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you so much. Good evening, viewers. I'm first of all grateful to be in WESTNILE TV for the first time. And speaking about the immunization agenda, it is really, as put forward by the Commissioner, the backbone of disease prevention in this country. We very well know that, yes, our immunization uptake relies so much on the caregivers or the parents who are actually the ones we rely on, knowing that the benefits of immunization are so many. They should be able to willingly and voluntarily bring their children to the immunization services. We offer immunization services in different modalities. They can come to the facilities right from hospitals, health centers, and so on. We can also get to the communities in terms of outreaches, where the communities access the services nearer to them. So these are the two major avenues that we bring services, immunization services to the population. But also there are certain strategies that the government embraces, especially during certain months in the year. We rely on the integrated child health days, where we can also move to schools and other social relevant places like markets to take the services to the parents themselves. So when these services are brought nearer to the parents, our expectation is that they are readily consumed.
Okay.
They are readily consumed, and the children are there actually to be brought for these vaccinations.
Okay.
Given that now there are this range of vaccines that has just been spoken about, it's important that the parents themselves actually need to bring these children themselves, not child getting a fellow child to the vaccination site. That may not be good enough, unless it's an older child.
Okay.
But we rely so much on the parents who should be able to take control of their children and bring these children to the vaccination sites, and then they receive these vaccines.
Right, and to the VHTs and those LCs who are going to be elected, we hope also you are going to be part of also the success of this story, and want to see how you will be helping government also making this successful in there, because we want to ensure there's no child that is lame, or there's no child who just simply gets problems after not also being immunized in there, and that's really where I want to bring back still Dr. Christopher on the issues of mindset. Quite many times we still have issues of mindset. When a vaccine is being introduced, we hear a lot of stories here and there that this vaccine causes this and that. Sometimes, I don't know, during the COVID, there were also really scenarios that will be able to also really make you unfunction. But that's something I believe is not also really true in there, because we have not also really have any experience, maybe any practical also really limitation of that. But that's really something where I believe we also need to still talk about issues of mindset. How are people responding to the call of having their children also immunized? If we are to compare back in the early 2000s and now, how is the trend? How is it moving on? If you have to basically give us that image, how is it moving on?
Thank you so much, moderator. This is a very good question in a way. Our immunization program started way back, as explained earlier, in the 80s there, and we seem to be moving steadily to attaining very good coverages from that time, and now that we also have these many vaccines, we are monitoring their uptake.
Okay.
And we are in a steady increase in the coverages.
Okay.
However, we still have pockets of persons who think they may not uptake these vaccines as expected. And of course, it is basically the attitude or the myth or misconceptions that people still put on some vaccines. You cited a very good example during COVID. During COVID, yeah, people had a lot of issues and complaints here and there, and some went up to the extent of refusing completely. But eventually, the COVID vaccinations actually helped a lot of us as Ugandans, even in the country, I mean the world as well. So these misconceptions and myths about vaccination is our general effort, together with the media fraternity, the health workers, the communities, and everybody, the political leaders, VHTs, LCs, and so on. Recently, we had a town hall meeting for some selected districts in this region, and we invited the district leaders, including traditional leaders, and health workers, and the VHTs as well. So we had a brainstorm of how can we increase mobilization for immunization services within our context or within our communities. Because somehow some people may not have access to information, but then we need to give them the right information about these many vaccines now that have come in the routine, and how the schedules are arranged and when they're supposed to be coming. So we had a very fruitful engagement, but we feel that yes, through constant talking to our communities and giving the benefits of vaccinations that have come along the way, we should be able to see no resistance whatsoever.
Okay.
So that's our
okay. That brings me back to the commissioner now, and you know, from your side there's readiness, and from the side of the Ministry of Health, how ready is the Ministry of Health in terms of making sure that those who qualify for these vaccines get them when there's need?
Yeah. Of course, it is Ministry of Health that is charged with the constitutionally the mandate of ensuring that Ugandans live a healthy and productive life. And therefore, the policies governing the execution or implementation of activities in the health center are very well thought out and definitely approved by cabinet and therefore implemented. Specifically for immunization, we of course have legislation about the value of immunization. We had the Immunization Act, now it is the revised Public Health Act, which of course comprehensively talks about all services, but immunization is one of the key issues that have been prioritized. Government puts a lot of money in ensuring that the supplies and the vaccines are in place together with those partners, and they try as much as possible to ensure that all our facilities do have these vaccines in place. And Christopher will tell you that is one of his key roles in ensuring that districts don't run out of stock of these vaccines. And of course, once in a while, there can be that stock out, and this always gets addressed at the fastest possible time. As I speak now, we, together with you, remember we were talking about malaria vaccine, which was launched on 2nd of April, and that is when we introduced the malaria vaccine in our routine immunization as the 14th antigen. So you remember you played a very big role, including other stakeholders, right from members of parliament, cultural leaders, religious leaders, and the media fraternity, LCs, VHTs, all the people were talking about malaria vaccine. And as I speak now, we got to know yesterday that actually nearly all over West Nile, the demand is so overwhelming that the facilities are saying they need more vaccines. So as I speak now, the Ministry of Health, together with the National Medical Stores, has already organized the truck to bring more supplies to the region, so that those children who were given the first dose are given their second dose. And that for me is commitment on the side of government to ensure that those who need services are supposed to actually get the services.
Okay, can the VHTs maybe administer these immunizations? Because we are seeing a trend where the locals are also getting to now trust the VHTs. Are they part of this?
VHTs are part of what we call community health workers.
Okay.
As a country, we have two major community health workers, that is village health teams, which we call VHTs, and now what we call community health extension workers, who are at a higher level of the parish, and they work hand in hand with the VHTs, the LCs, and the health facilities. So, fast forward, by their training, these community health workers are supposed to be mobilizers.
Okay.
They are supposed to get information from the health workers and relay it to their households, to the communities, so that when there are services, then they go, communities go. For example, Christopher was telling you, we have immunization services in all our health facilities, where we have fridges, right from hospitals up to health center 4s, health center 3s, and then we also have programs which are designed to take services to the community, what we call the outreach services. And that is where the VHCs or the community health workers play a crucial role. The healthcare workers will plan when to go there, and then they will give this information to the community health workers together with the LC ones, and then they mobilize and the services are brought. So this is another way of trying to ensure that we take services nearer to the people for those who may not be able to access our facilities, who may think the facilities are far away. So this really is what we think is very, very important in as far as protecting our children from vaccine-preventable diseases are concerned.
Okay. Maybe as we get to have the break, maybe if you can have that summarized in some few minutes as we get moving for the break.
Yes. Maybe before we move to the break, we definitely have various roles. Christophe already alluded to that. We have different people who we expect to play different roles. For example, the healthcare workers are charged with the mandate to ensure that they offer or they give very highly efficacious and safe vaccines. Meanwhile, the communities are supposed to help us ensure that those who are eligible to be vaccinated are actually reminded and they come for these services. And this is a concerted effort of all of us. Ours will be to ensure that the supplies are actually reaching the facilities so that the healthcare workers can actually give them from the ministry position. So we all have a role, right from the national level, from the regional level, even up to the household, where the parents are supposed to ensure that these children are brought to be vaccinated because they can't speak for themselves. So this is a concerted effort, and we do hope that we'll cooperate in this, because these children are Ugandans, and these children are innocent, and these children have their right to good health, as is being written in our laws, in our constitution, and also in our acts that has been already passed recently. Thank you.
All right, and I think it's really very, very much important for us to really know what we are vaccinating, because we have talked about our roles and then what intervals, and that's why I want to bring in Dr. Christophe before we get out to have that break, to break down for us maybe what they are vaccinating and what exactly they will be also really using to determine if a child qualifies for this vaccination. Are there age categories? Are there maybe time intervals that means that these vaccines, and which are some recipes also as well that you are going to be immunizing?
Thank you so much. This is very crucial. Before actually health workers start vaccinating children or mothers, this is the first information they need to provide to the caregivers. The diseases the vaccines are preventing, and the vaccines themselves that the children are going to receive, so they need to communicate this to the caregivers. So in all, actually, a child is supposed to be brought now with the new vaccines about 9 times to the vaccination site, where it starts from birth.
Okay.
As soon as a child is born, this child should receive some specific vaccines.
Okay.
Just to mention, for instance, BCG is one of the vaccines that is received at birth. Polio 0 is also a vaccine that is received at birth.
And this is for mothers who deliver at the health facilities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but for maybe in an event where a mother has delivered at home and is able to come quickly, maybe within a week's time or a few days to the facility, still will receive those at birth vaccines.
Okay.
But we encourage that mothers actually deliver in health facilities, because now of the complications that may arise during birth period. So, and one of the vaccines that I was mentioning during birth is the hepatitis B vaccine that is also given during after birth. And we know hepatitis B vaccine is also one of the new vaccines that have come in the routine because of the burden of the hepatitis B disease that have been rampant in the
That's administered to the mothers or both?
It's administered to the baby.
Okay.
The newborn baby.
Very important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Newborn baby. Then there are other vaccines that are administered now at 6 weeks, when the baby is 6 weeks. So there also a variety. And at that age, there are about 5 vaccines that are administered to that baby. So these schedules are followed, and then at 10 weeks, also a baby is brought, and then a set of vaccines also are given, and then at 14 weeks, that's about, in terms of months, people can usually estimate if it is 14 weeks, how many months can that be? Maybe 3.5 months. And then at 6 months, also these babies are brought to the health facilities or the outreach sites, where they are also given antigens. Now, that's where the malaria vaccine starts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the malaria vaccine starts. For all those children who have reached 6 months, they need to get the first shot of malaria vaccine alongside other packages that are given, like vitamin A and so on. And then at the same month, this child is brought back for malaria vaccine. But also, this may be the only opportunity for a child who may have missed, maybe during the other periods. So can also get other antigens. But that may be now off schedule. But the scheduled vaccine at 7 months will be the second dose of malaria vaccine. And then at 8 months, also this child is brought back for another malaria vaccine, which is the third dose. And then at 9 months, this child is brought back for now measles rubella vaccine and the yellow fever vaccine.
Okay.
So these schedules go like that, and then from there, now a child gets the last vaccine at 18 months, where that's now in the second year of life. That's 1 year and 6 months.
Okay.
So that's what mothers need to remember, and health workers need to communicate to the mothers, because if it is written on the child health card, those who are able to read and write, they can follow. But those who are unable, they need to explain clearly to them that this child, after reaching 1 year and 6 months, that's now 18 months, please bring this child back. So those are the schedules that we really emphasize. And if a child is brought on schedule, the protection the child gets is 100%.
Okay.
With all the diseases that we are trying to prevent.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe doctor, if you can add on, maybe what also you are going to be doing to ensure that the mothers have their children safely vaccinated, because many times some mothers also fear. Can you mention all these stages, all these weeks, all these months, and the mother will be saying, how difficult is it my child, how difficult is it going to be for my child, and how easy are these vaccines to be administered? Because many times we see mothers coming back with children crying, and if you ask what the problem is, they will say immunization. How easy is it?
I think the most important thing is information flow. The parents or the mothers need to be informed about what to expect. These vaccines, some of them are given orally, and quite a good number of them are given by injection. And you see, you're introducing a foreign body into the body, there is bound to be a reaction. And the way the vaccines work sometimes is the body needs to mount a response. And for some of them, of course, the way it mounts the reaction can be manifested in the form of pain at the site of injection, in the form of some mild fever which disappears after 24 or 48 hours. So that actually needs to be explained to the parents so that they get to know. We as a country in this program, we are not only thinking of protecting these children, but we are also having plans to ensure that we get rid of some of these diseases, vaccine preventable diseases. For example, we already kicked polio out of this country, you know that. Things like smallpox were already eliminated even before you were born, me and you were born. So these are all programs that are possible. Last time when I was here, I did mention that we are in the process of eliminating malaria, we are in the process of eliminating TB and leprosy, and we are in the process of ensuring that we don't get any new HIV infection by the year 2030. So the numbers may look many, but we are definitely having a very strategic plan where we want to get rid of these. So you may realize that in future we may not have some of these antigens as part of our routine immunization if we get rid of the diseases.
Right, and that is really, maybe...
Yeah, but also, just to add on that, the multiple injections fears can be real for mothers here or caregivers here.
Meaning they must be expecting this.
Yeah, they should be expecting this, and they must be explained that this at this visit this child will receive a number of injections, like 2, 3, then others are oral. And so the expectation that the child will cry or will have some reaction is now obvious, yeah. So can be expected by the mother. But we also have what we are monitoring as adverse events following immunization, which is a surveillance program for the Ministry of Health to power vaccine safety monitoring. In any case, as he said, the Commissioner said, vaccines are foreign antigens that are introduced in the body. So should they behave weirdly, we also need to avert its reaction and also explain accordingly.
Alright.
So that's what we're monitoring as well.
Alright, that brings us to where we are going to be having a short break, and we extend purposely to make sure the information reaches to you, and we are saying you shouldn't keep this information to yourself. Make sure it has a multiplier effect. And how are we going to be achieving this? It is through extending this, minus adding it all to the rest of the people out there, so that you also really do not also misinform India, and that would be quite absurd. And we shall be achieving also really a malaria-free, maybe country, if a malaria-free society gets a good period, and that is really quite possible. And we want to ensure that all these diseases that have been mentioned are kicked out, and that is also only through if we embrace this exercise. And with that, we come to the end. We are going to take a short commercial break. When we get back, the discussion still will be able to flow. And if in case you have any questions, still you can be keeping them coming through on the various media platforms where you're watching us. If you're watching us via YouTube, you can keep the comments coming there. If at all you're watching us on your screens, still the numbers are scrolling in there. You can keep the questions coming through, and we shall be in position to check through later. And for now, it's a short commercial break. We bounce back shortly. Stay tuned.
WESTNILE TV, lighting up the region.
In the neighborhood, near stagnant water and mosquito breeding sites, malaria lurks, always waiting to strike. But fear not, for here comes Mr. Vaxa, the ultimate protector against malaria. For years, malaria has been one of the biggest threats to children under 5, making them weak and even putting their lives at risk. But now, the government is introducing a new solution, the malaria vaccine. The malaria vaccine is now in the routine immunization schedule. The malaria vaccine is administered in 4 doses at 6 months, 7 months, 8 months and 18 months. This vaccine will provide extra protection against severe malaria. And don't forget, routine immunization protects children from many deadly diseases. Every vaccine matters. Visit the nearest health facility for routine immunization services today. Mr. Vaxa, the malaria vaccine is free, safe and ready to protect our children. Will you join the fight and complete all 4 doses? For more information, call the Ministry of Health on 0800 100 066. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Every journey to motherhood is unique, but the path to a healthy pregnancy begins with a simple choice. The choice to care for yourself and the life growing inside you. It's the little steps, the moments of care and support that matter most. Early antenatal care within the first 3 months of pregnancy and attending at least 8 antenatal care visits. It's not just a routine, it's the foundation of a safe, healthy pregnancy and baby. When we care for the ones we love, we take the steps that matter. We make sure every appointment counts. Be her keeper, support her journey, attend early and full antenatal care as told by the health worker. If you suspect to be pregnant, go to the health center today to confirm and ensure a healthy start for your baby. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF.
Idozo mijoedzelea kanikumizirania yi atizaro tika angutsi yi yani itozwa azwaleni adumaliasi azo malaria niri ebi otekwa ini kanikupa waraini sandife te orimabedi meko aro azo malaria atrizu waniomve Mr. Vaxa itamo idozo dio azo malaria niri ebi amani drigaza fe kaniku sandife amani dika anzinyiri amavudi ipie erife baruetinia o kokoko Revini Sandife bednindi tesadisi government ya madri Uganda niri usugeriko di azodi ya trizuri bo aro malaria atrizudi basadisi riso paria lua aro azidi pie aro malaria atrizudi beriso gerikondundu susi imbazia imbaziri imbaro vini imbamudini aro nde malaria vore remi azako azo malaria niri atrizu gerikondundu se dika midrimave aro azi ndundo di ayutasiku askuni erianzi nyiri bavure mazako azo ndundo di kiatrizo aro azi ndundo di dia zako mafeindi mitodimu arozo miagaya inyari ara mitodimu aro malaria atrizo Mr. Vaxa isura eri nani adzekoko eri aro azi ala etozo mirua tambazo deleni iyo nizudini angeri mitodi okalamvo alata niriomve yakani nukuta toko aro toko toko alo toko 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 azia madria udukore ejipi midire ri okalamvo alata nere
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from wherever you're watching us from. This is still a talk show where we're talking about health. And my name is Farish Majid, the host, but of course I do have guests from Ministry of Health. And with me in the studios is Dr. Ronald Mwiyotsati, who happens to be Assistant Commissioner Health Services in charge of health promotion and strategic health communication. That's with Ministry of Health, and we are still talking about immunization. He's not alone, and with me also in the studios is Dr. Radiku Christopher Azaba, Robert pronounced that name very well, and he is the coordinator expanded program on immunization. That is Arua region, and when we talk about Arua region, I do understand it's not only Arua city or maybe Arua district. There are very many areas in here, and we have been discussing about immunization, and now we want to look at how West Nile is doing as far as something. And the person to give us this is Dr. Ronald Oswell as far as this is concerned. How is our state, if we have to look at West Nile compared to the national scope? How are we doing when it comes to response to these vaccine immunizations?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, viewers once again. As ministry, we look at district performance, specific district performances, and we categorize them. Our categorization is looking at issues of access and issues of utilization. For example, the best category, there are 4 categories. There is the first category, which is category 1, where there is good access to immunization services, and also immunization services are utilized very well. And then category 2, again, is also good access. That means people are able to access it, but also the utilization is poor. What it means is what you need for immunization, you can get it, the vaccines and the healthcare workers. But then when it comes to service recipients, or those ones who use it, it is poorly done. That is category 2. Then when we reach category 3, what it means is there is poor access. For one reason or another, what is supposed to be provided probably is not there. But then the little that is there, the utilization is very well done. Then category 4 is where we have poor access and also poor utilization. That means it is not easily accessible, but also whatever little is accessible is very poorly utilized. And category 4 is more or less like what? F9, if you want, in categorization of if you equate it to education. In West Nile region, we have about 13 entities, local government. We have Zombo, we have Nebi, we have Pakwat, we have Jumani, Ubongi, Moyo, Yumbe, Koboko, Maracha, Teregu, Arua, and Arua City. So when we look at the performance of these districts according to our national categorization, we realize that Nebi, Pakwach, then Jumani, Yumbe, Koboko, and Arua City have been able to maintain being in category 1. That means they're doing very well. The issues of access, people are able to access these services, and they're actually utilizing it as required. So those are about 6 districts, if you wish. 6 districts out of 13.
Okay.
So it means the 7, which of course include Zombo, Madio Kolo, Teregu, Maracha, Rura, and the Obongi and Moyo. Obongi and Moyo. Those ones are in category 3. That means the access is poor, but once whatever little is being taken, people are able to utilize it. So we are trying to work very hard as a region, being supervised by our regional referral facility, and also now Yumbe regional referral facility, so that these districts are supported and helped to ensure that all of them are in category 1. I'm sure you know, if you don't, that West Nile is very lucky. It is the only region in the whole of Uganda where we have 2 regional referral hospitals. And we are where Yumbe takes care of Koboko, and takes care of Jumani, Moyo, and Obongi. Then Arua takes care of the rest of the districts. So the 2 regional referral facilities then try to support these districts with support from partners, Ministry of Health, but also partners that work here like IDA and many other partners, to ensure that we give provision for children to be vaccinated. I'm aware we have some national partners that also work with the region, but all that their effort is geared towards ensuring that all the districts are in category 1. That is really what we advocate for. So our plea right now therefore is that we need to work collectively, because it is all of us who are in this system, to ensure that our children are protected, and that the districts are all in category 1, where there is good access and also good utilization.
Okay.
I'm sure Christopher will bear witness with me that from the recently released Uganda Demographic and Health Survey report, it was evident that West Nile region is losing quite a number of children under 5. And this definitely is not good for us as a region, because there are so many causes of death for children. But I think those which are preventable, we really need to see that we definitely prevent them. So from the statistics that we have been given, we realize that about 55 children out of 1,000 who are born, who are infants or under 1, actually don't live, and then about 79 out of 1,000 children under 5 also don't live, and these are all here in West Nile, and these are figures which may look small, but definitely I'm sure as parents nobody wants his or her child to die, isn't it? We should be talking about no child dying out of 1,000 live births of these children, whether under 5 or whether under 1. So we therefore appeal to you that we have a huge task ahead of us, individually and also collectively, to ensure that we support the districts so that all of them are in category 1.
Okay.
That is the first thing. And then once we are all in category 1, then we need to maintain being in category 1. That means now we have to play our respective roles, the media inclusive, and all segments of the population. And if there are those doubting Thomases like we had during the time of COVID, we need to have to understand what their reason for doubt is, and then we can speak to them to let them understand, but also importantly understand what their worries are, so that we can all be speaking the same language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's where I bring in Dr. Christopher in terms of access. Where do I find these vaccines and how safe are they? And besides safety, is there any cost I pay to have access to these vaccines?
Thank you very much again for this second time after the break. Very good question, and nationally it is the national medical stores that is responsible for the entire country's vaccines in terms of equipment, shipping and storage and transportation to last mile. And recently there has been some developments that NMS should be able to deliver vaccines to the lowest facility levels in whichever rural area they may want to deliver. But by and large, these vaccines are free. They have been procured under the government of Uganda funding together with partners, and they are free of charge. Every antigen that has been included in the routine schedule is free. The 14 antigens are all free. So we encourage our population, our parents, to take advantage of this and use these vaccines maximally for the protection of our children, the future leaders of this country. In terms of access, these vaccines can be accessed. First of all, when national medical stores deliver these vaccines, they are delivered in the office of the district health office, the district vaccine store. So when these vaccines are delivered in the store, then they are planned for last mile delivery, where they are taken up to health center level 2, where fridges to keep these vaccines very safe. And the vaccines that are actually delivered right from the manufacturer to the national medical stores, up the district vaccine store, up the health center 2 level, where we are having refrigeration, is the same vaccine in terms of quality and safety. Because the required temperatures, the storage conditions are maintained all through, right from the manufacturer up to the last recipient. So these vaccines are accessible to all public and even the private.
I was actually coming to that, because we have a category of people who love having their medical issues with private facilities. Are these services in there as well?
Yes, let me say this. These vaccines are accessible in all public health facilities in this country. And for this particular show, we are talking about our region.
Okay.
So they are accessible within our facilities within the region. There are also those facilities that are private, not for profit. These are majorly faith-based facilities that are also having these vaccines available within their health facilities and free of charge, of course. There are those facilities that are operating privately, and they have some profit margins that they usually want to achieve. And some selected facilities have also have been inspected very well by the ministry team to have these vaccines also administered within the facility.
Okay.
But the vaccines that are supplied by Ministry of Health are also given free by those private facilities.
Okay.
The only cost there are other services that they may provide for the same client,
Okay.
but not vaccine. So these vaccines are accessible. Nobody should be fear to access them, whether because of going to pay. The cost implication may only be for the mother to go to that transport, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe by the border or a car, you fuel it, if the distance is a little,
But when you reach the health facility,
no cost.
no cost.
Nothing.
Very
So
important.
it's very, very free. Yeah.
And now that's where I want to still bring you back as our time is running so fast. I want us to talk about the effectiveness and the safetyness of these vaccines, because some now they may be still having fears, just to allay their fears as we are running out of them.
Yes, as we come to the conclusion, vaccines have been tried, tested for efficacy, safety, and we do not just get the vaccines per se and come and give to our children. These undergo rigorous scientific tests which must be proved and tried out, first in animals and then of course in the volunteer human subjects, and then it's studied before we can finally give it a note. So these vaccines are definitely very safe, effective and free of charge, as Christopher said. We work with the World Governing Body for Health, that is World Health Organization, who also have to certify that they are surely safe. And on our part, we definitely have our National Drug Authority, that is the body mandated legally to ensure that whatever comes in the country is efficacious, safe and effective, and therefore they go where these vaccines are being manufactured and they do their own tests, and eventually when these ones are also brought in country, they do another sampling and testing to ensure that what they saw and is safe is actually what we have received. So those are the kind of things. So lastly from me, I want to take this opportunity to thank Ministry of Health, especially the World Bank support under the ICRE project, for having made it possible for us to have these engagements on a number of media houses. But of course, allow me also thank WESTNILE Television, which is very widely listened to television, not only in WESTNILE but beyond the boundaries of WESTNILE. I think we are very grateful to the management. You have always been there whenever we call upon you to give us support, especially in the area of health, even when we don't have money. We want to appreciate that. And of course to the viewers who are listening to us, who are watching us, we are in this together. It is our responsibility as parents, as viewers, to ensure that our children are given the health that they deserve. Our children are given an opportunity to live a healthy life. We will continue as Ministry of Health to support districts and regions to ensure that we offer what we are mandated to do, that is ensuring Ugandans get the best quality of health care and they live a healthy and productive life. Thank you very much for listening to us. We do appreciate it.
Right, and Commissioner, you as son of the soil, it will really be very, very much absurd if you leave. Mine has my professor really explained to the local people, most especially the rural community who could be watching us right now within WESTNILE and outside WESTNILE, because we do have a huge population watching us across the WESTNILE sub-region, others in Uganda, with others in Bunyoro who could be following us, and it will really be so much good if you also really explain to them, because as WESTNILE Television, our number one mission remains, that is to light up the region, because we want to ensure that also really we will not leave you out in all areas, and that's why we take issues of health very, very much serious in there. And I really want to maybe ask you just 2 minutes to summarize the benefits of some of these vaccines to the mothers in the local language, that's Liberty, and then later on he will also really be adding up a little still on the same issue as we get move on.
Waliforma suru bana amane episodes dika amerikidi eyo moderatani yo do arekemi mata dingo biyeli ma ri kunkuyo ba ti amabere lugo etisibini iyo amani bi munzero ari to iyo ibipi zo bani dietri anjiri mali atutumi dikabini zo anzi ibe mudri kan ko ko kan ko otibadi aro amani bife ini azogre tuzuri otitadi ri otitaga mete nini ebi amabusuro de amebi otitadi de mudle kane amesudi amabu WESTNILE ya dia otita amani otidi districts ogogo mudri risiti ya lowaro de mali dia kirikobani eyo tebani aro nde ode osozuka ku aro de sezu anzi tebani gaba mufeni mli seleni choki ndewerera te ama isu districts ogogo Asia didi da nebi papati jumani yumbe kobokori Arua City azini ya yumbe kobokori jumani Arua City pakwati azini nebi amesu district libiki azinga yote azonde mwabiye tuzo anzi mesera di malia muke otita bani uti ministry ya Kampala le mwabiye district azideke ibiki yemuke te letemo bikinga ima soksi seedle were dikadini.
Okay.
So ama itasikina mangati chini pedwe tu yota yobipi ama feanzini aro azo anziki obipi ndundu deka podi chakili toiku awadima duyadini amanira azo dike ibiki amane anziki udi afa azo kajuka pile kaniku azo apane achozu polio pile dika azo hini okay fepe anziki sepi sanse anzini otazo dike adani amesu aro dike bani biye ke operea ini bibi ni azako makora sari sa mejidini vaccine azi odi nikira alore vaccine hepatitis D mani mile hepatitis aro azo ogovleri ibiba ki udiba waraki udidi amega kini letede anzini kiba feni aro da denga podi takini ba wararo e mauguni yezazu kurulini da program gamete niji sari siri ayadika mesubini andra mbosu mambudu ndisi ameji aro malaria omjiri madileti zuri ameji binibo so aro dike bedo kyo sobo dika amanite isu ingazo aje azina aro yakini be muki aro nde malia badaka aro nde maongo isi ledini so apetodu ko yakan kusia banga aro biji ngazo intebe national medical service so after the amani mi orozu rikini anjiri amani ini leba fe aro do fe zoriki be anji yonje bi matisi kuriki aro diki atekoko aro diki aro jo ma ku game pe pikan ko amutite bano be PNP kani kalata katuliki mapalaya Islam mapalaya dika 7 days mapalaya kani Islam mapalaya Anglican mapala ani diki aro jo diki dria ama unikira aro diki mali ati dika aro jo azibini yipi ini tichizo gamete bekini yichote aro nde ferade bekini aro iduki fesende sete aro dbaka feigiwo ikinga fe nani rekibiniti okay. So amadini ya hii ni chiti ya mapitu alo amani ngazo azakuma kozo anzi amadini maluwa askoni akaichopa amadini mazakoko basi choke na mazakoko gamete febela amani dileba didi lede mama ya dini ama chiti tu aloba daktari ya rugi pie amani ngazo anzi amabure mazakozo bani ni aro kyozo zoma letizu bendini all four minsa all four omega bana vile baradi nete da wale divin da ma bisi der madriani sana tunega kecho maduara ama mute madinga fuwa sen
all four that andra moropi asde matika maybe tunde onzo gravity amadi do
jukukuli ya
balo ti amadi akwense asko tiri do amadi akwere le do akwere na re yo ti ndi aro diki amapisu orozo mundu de matusi batenze bonde eredane azekoro me chiki anziki aro diki suzu anzite de mane la borozo deplero ni ayana chimbere de aro sura to the power orom di kadida la odeklo usiku dile ma area da per ele bazia maria so ostadi ere barani pano to kauteno to kine kati aro kisu sagma era ne make protection of kiliro also tedi amane reachi ekle TB le kajule pneumonia suile wanda ke akondondo sasa ama azo mtuni suya muna na ma atia bosikisi so era mai but in the mayo bazu kilo kilo anzidi mazo protection of the azo de ma pikiko ma azo na de isa sasre e TB ni azo ne kajule azo ke ngoro le sasa ondo le sisi te kajule amani nzara vale kajule district azo ma vodare na lachi e kole medile zumbule o tuto azima coverage ni mkati le yazure ne pipinga apabe anzira apale aro bisu moke kwere bere kichi so le pama tia zo kloro pero de match chama se le tikotikaniko afa for WESTNILE TV ni ebrama
obada kore robia bada fayako arodi sudi Robert Fenico Arolizo Robert Fenico Arolizo Gavate Gana Rijano Gila Martini Maduro Muisu Richi Tana Mano Vidiabo Ekwe Arazo Pesele Iria Naya Suya Kanko Hospital Malia Kanko Azte okay, like I said, why on this one and dear viewer, that brings us to the end of the talk show, and I hope you also picked at least one or two information which you must now take also to work and also use to make sure that you positively change your society. And we say, do not keep this to yourself only. Make sure that you positively use this to transform the society, because we want to ensure a safe society where also no child below 5 years dies. That would be our best achievement. We want to ensure that no child dies, and that's quite possible. And for instance, also through some of these diseases that I will mention, if we have our children immunized, we never know. They will avoid dying before the 5 years, and that's really quite important. This goes to the mothers, because you are always the first health workers of the child, and fathers will not be having a child, but mothers, you are really very, very much instrumental in making sure that the child lives safely in there. That brings us to the end of the talk show. I hope you had a wonderful time, and with that we come to the end of the show. My name is Warish Majid. Have a blessed evening, and we catch up again until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
WESTNILE TV, lighting up the region.
In the neighborhood, near stagnant water and mosquito breeding sites, malaria lurks, always waiting to strike. But fear not, for here comes Mr. Vaxxer, the ultimate protector against malaria. For years, malaria has been one of the biggest threats to children under 5, making them weak and even putting their lives at risk. But now, the government is introducing a new solution, the malaria vaccine. The malaria vaccine is now in the routine immunization schedule. The malaria vaccine is administered in 4 doses at 6 months, 7 months, 8 months and 18 months. This vaccine will provide extra protection against severe malaria. And don't forget, routine immunization protects children from many deadly diseases. Every vaccine matters. Visit the nearest health facility for routine immunization services today. Mr. Vaxxer, the malaria vaccine is free, safe and ready to protect our children. Will you join the fight and complete all 4 doses? For more information, call the Ministry of Health on 0800 100 066. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Idozo ni joe zelea kanikumu zirania yi